Okay, so today we're going to touch on the second part of your chapter 2. The first part was simultaneous equation, right? So now we jump to 2.2, which is quadratic inequalities. So but first we need to solve this like as normal quadratic equations. So there are two ways to do it. One way is you shift the 2x squared to the right, correct? The other way is to shift your 5x and your 3 to the left. So what we are going to do is we are going to make 2x squared a positive coefficient of x squared. So we shift everything to the left, even though there's more things to shift, but later we'll see that it will be easier because there's a positive coefficient of x squared. So let's solve this like any quadratic equation. Take this as if it's equal to 0. So what is your value of a? Well, a comes from here. So what's the value of a? Okay, a equals to 2. And b, -5. And c, -3. All right, now whatever I'm writing in red, please don't write during exam. Okay, you can write in pencil, after that erase it. Can you now press your calculator? For Casio 96, you press mode 33. Casio 97, manual 522. For Sharp is manual 32. If you're using an older Sharp, it can be manual 22. So the idea is for you to do a quadratic equations, solving of quadratic equations. The first one is x equals to -1/2 using the calculator. Okay, you input these numbers, you press equal sign, and the other number you get is 3, right? +3. Now, please take this down in your notes. The number below, there's only two things to remember. The number below, which is the number at the denominator, is your x. Okay, so we have 2x. And the second thing to remember is, it is the opposite sign. Okay, that's all you need to remember. So we are now going to factorize like in lightning speed like that, very fast one. Okay, so you know that factorizing quadratic inequalities or quadratic equation will give you this, right? Now having to learn this now, how many x do we have? 2x. The sign is opposite, +1. The denominator is 1x and opposite -3. Okay, so it's the opposite sign for the numbers. It's the opposite sign for the number. Okay. What happens if the answer is like decimal places? Can you still do it this way? Yeah, you have to use the general formula. Okay, you have to use the general formula. I'm sorry, if this is the case, right? There is no choice. You have to use the general formula. Okay, but if you can factorize, you can actually press the calculator. How do we solve it as an inequality? So what shape is this? What type of curve do we get? We are getting a U-shaped curve. And there are two solutions. The solution here is 3 and the solution here is -½ So the question is, which part of the curve is always less than 0? So you know that this is your fx, right? Okay, so I got this part here. This is part of the fx that is below the x-axis. I have this part here that is above the x-axis. So which part, which y values, the y values is always less than 0? Which y value is always negative? Which part, the red part or the green part? So this is the part that is always negative, right? Whenever our x falls within this range, the fx is always negative. So the solution will be between 3 and -½ So any numbers between 3 and -½ will give us a fx value of a negative value. Right? So that's the idea. Now, we look at this part now. Okay, you guess. We are going to do the same thing, push it to the left-hand side. But now the inequality sign, because the question says it's greater than 0, after we factorize, it will still be greater than 0. So the question is, because it's a U-shaped curve, the coefficient of x squared is positive, it's a U-shaped curve. When will we get positive fx? So this is your fx, right? The whole thing is fx. When will we get positive fx? The red part or the green part? Okay, that's the question. So whenever we have values that are here, those that are more than 3, right? We will have greater than 0. Okay, later I'll let you try lah. Don't worry. Any number that is less than negative half, we will have positive fx. Okay, now what does this mean? Very simple only. You see, this is your fx, right? We name it as fx. So let's choose a number that is more than 3. Up to you. Any number you like more than 3. Don't choose too big. 5. So we sub in 5. What do you think will be the answer, even without pressing the calculator? Positive or negative? It should be positive. You press. Okay. So we have 50 minus 25 minus 3. So it's 22, right? So it's positive. So I proved. Now, you can choose any number less than negative half. Okay? So let's choose a simple number. What's the simplest number you can choose? Negative 1, right? That's the easiest. So we choose a negative 1. Wait. Don't press calculator first. What do you think the answer will be? Positive or negative? These are the numbers that will give you positive. These are the numbers that will give you positive. We chose here and here because these are the positive fx. These are the positive fx. So you'll be positive. If you choose any x value here and any x value here, your fx will become positive. Let's try. 2 plus 5 minus 3 will give us 4. Positive again. Now let's choose a number in between. What do you think will the answer be? So we try one more time. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. What's the favorite number in between that's easiest? Easier than 1?
0.
0 lah. 0 is the easiest. Okay, so 2 times 0 squared minus 5 times 0 minus 3. What do you think the answer will be? It's negative, right? This is the one that we don't want, right? We don't want this. We want here on the right side more than 3, and we want here on the left side less than negative half. So, thank you. X is, this side first, smaller than negative half, or x is greater than 3. So these are the range of values of x that will make your fx positive. These are the range of values of x that will make your fx positive. Because the question says, I want those that make the fx positive. That's what the question wants. Now, let's look at this question here. Do you want to shift the 3 to your left or shift the 2x squared to your right? Okay, the answer is we will want to shift the negative 2x squared and the 7x over. Okay, I will explain why after I finish. So let's shift it over. 2x squared minus 7x plus or minus 3. You shift over. So you will remain. Now the inequality sign is greater or less than. You see, your negative 7x and your 2x squared all on this side, right? All on this side. So what's the inequality? The fx is, read from this side, read from this side. You have to learn greater than 0. So your fx is greater than 0. Yeah, you have to learn to read. Fx greater than 0. Fx is on the greater side, Fx is on the greater side. Do you remember this one is like an alligator, right? The alligator always like to eat the big numbers. This is the small numbers. You see this is very small, right? This is very big. So this side is always the big one. So this fx is greater than 0. Okay, question. Why do we make it 2x squared instead of negative 2x squared? The reason is this. We want to draw a U-shaped curve so that we don't have to memorize double things. If you have a negative 2x squared, you can still solve it, but now the curve you have to invert it. And we don't want that because we don't want to memorize so many things. We don't want to take care of so many things. The rule is, okay, we will make coefficient of x squared positive. Let's try to do that all the time. It can always be done one. You just need to shift it to the correct position. So we always make the coefficient of x squared positive. Always. The reason is so that we can draw a U shape. Now, can you press your calculator? What will be inside these two brackets now? Okay, you just learn how to so-called do a shortcut.
3.5.
So the answer you have half and 3. Can you immediately plug it into the bracket? Now let's try this. What is inside the bracket? Yes. This is the x. Then the opposite sign. So 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1. Very easy, huh? It's okay to do that during exams. What is this? 1x minus 3. 1x minus 3. Okay, so the number here will be 3 and the number here will be half. Which one do I want? Do I want the red part or do I want the green part? Look at this sign. Do I want the red part or the green part? I want the green part. And so, what are the range of values of x? This is the last part already. X must be smaller than half or x is greater than 3. So please always make the coefficient of x squared positive. Okay? Alright, can we stop the video?